Today's episode of Wiki Sift is brought to you by Kaiser Hindenburg's old-fashioned, lightly salted horse pheromones. More about them after the horse husbandry segment.
Alright, so we're doing more Star Wars tonight?
Yeah, this is
We're doing more Star Trek.
The Star Treks.
Star Trek. Okay, so hold on a second. I have a bunch of MIDI files queued up. I'm going to be listening to Star Trek TNG's music, but it's all orchestra hits.
That's the way to be.
Alright, I'm good.
Alright, we're good to go.
Oh my god, I've made a mistake. This sounds fucking terrible.
Wait, you actually did it while we were talking?
And we're not ready to go after all.
Oh, we are absolutely ready to go. It's just terrible.
Alright,
Let's rock.
Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and What? Stevo, what?
I'm laughing at the music. I'll send it to you in post.
Can I just once get through my opening sentence?
No! That's your TV tropes, is just constant interruptions during the opening, Tom. Don't fight it, embrace it!
Welcome to Wiki Sift, a shallow dive into pop culture and fandom. Today we're continuing our talk about Star Trek novels. I'm Tom, he's an evil genius white, and today I'm joined by...
I am Ian M. 0X Diamond Burton. That's a lot of names and initials. I am the project director for Ken's Labyrinth 2. I am a Twitch streamer, and you also might know me as the guy who yelled all the cuss words in that Doom mod about the guy who rips monsters in half with his bare hands.
Oh, that's you? Awesome.
Yeah, that's me.
Cool. I am Stevo. I am the host and creator of Friday Night Fanfiction. Go check us out at FridayNightFanfiction.com. My hands are made of sand, and I am a friend of Tom's, which is really all you need to know. What? Oh, by the way, Zero, where can we find your stuff online?
I'm at www.twitch.tv/0xdiamond for my streams, and development of Ken's Labyrinth 2 is slow because of money problems, but if you want to check out what's already been shown of it, that can be found at twitter.com/Ken's Labyrinth 2 with, that's an II, not actually the number.
And Stevo, where can we find your stuff? Well, you can go to FridayNightFanfiction.com in order to listen to the podcast. Also, you can find me on Twitter at StevoFNF. I'm on Wiki Sift, though probably not for much longer after tonight. If you want to find me on Twitch, you can find me at Worst Best Friends or Stevo Stepper. And otherwise, I'm mostly just hanging out on Discord or being busy being a family man, like Guile told me to do.
Wiki Sift is a willfully ignorant fandom podcast where we don't actually directly consume media and just read what fans wrote about it online. Because I could marathon 60 years of Doctor Who, but I'd rather just go to the fan wiki and read how many times the heroes meet Winston Churchill. The answer is 24 times. But today, specifically, we're talking about Star Trek novels, again.
I was talking about Spock Messiah on my stream earlier today, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spreading the gospel.
Yes. Oh, I've been telling people all about, like, Spock.
Oh, yeah, we're starting the new cult of Chagagara, right?
And Kirk blowing up the sun. So
That's right.
Actually, let me do a quick recap for, this is part 2.
Nothing about this podcast is ever quick, Tom. Don't kid yourself.
This is part 2 of Star Trek novels. If you weren't with us for part 1, some highlights include Spock accidentally being cloned into a mirror version that's like him but backwards, And Spock decided that because he's backwards, he's ethically reversed as well and must be working for the Klingons, and the crew all murder him. And we left off with a really interesting story about Kirk arriving at a planet with like 3 different warring factions, and he solves all of their socioeconomic. I felt like maybe economic wasn't the right word, but
Sociopolitical?
He fired torpedoes into the sun, and this fixed everything. So this is what we have to work with in terms of Star Trek novels. At least the early ones. We don't know how they're going to pan out by the end because there's over 850.
I can't wait.
But, okay, so...
There's 850... How many segments are you planning to do episodes for Star Trek novels, Tom?
Listen.
Until we run out of steam.
You know how we were, before Tom got here, how we were... that's what we're actually going to sound like by the time that we get to number 850. I remember when we were talking about... Well, at least
my hands will not be made of sand.
Well, not in this continuity, anyways.
How do you masturbate with hands made of sand?
Asking no real questions, I see.
Just
One
the same
word.
way that
Gritty.
the same way that you hug your children with nuclear arms.
Okay, you don't hug your children with the same hands you masturbate with sand with. That's wrong.
Technically you do. I mean, what, do you have 3 hands and you only use the other 2 for hugging your kids?
Oh, that's like in the Middle East. The left hand is for poop and the right hand is for eating.
And the center hand is for hugging your children.
Yeah, exactly.
The center...
Stevo gets it.
The center hand sounds like something very disgusting to hug your child with, actually. Something illegal to touch your child with in any way.
The center hand sounds like a title of a Star Trek novel.
Yes,
it
does.
I have a DVD for the Kama Sutra. Let me go check to see if the center hand takes part in it.
Remember Spock 89 and his center hand.
Tom, you'll never get anything done ever. I'm sorry.
I'm going to talk about something we skipped last time. Mission to Horatius. We skipped this one last time around, which I thought wasn't a big deal since most of the fan pages said that Spock Must Die was the first true novel for a general audience. Mission to Horatius was a young adult novel. But I took a look at it after the last episode and discovered things.
All right, I have an immediate question related to stuff that was done before this recording started. Are Spock's hands made of sand?
Thanks, Stevo. An inside joke that nobody's gonna get.
You're thinking of Spock 77.
Okay,
or perhaps Spock 77-A, because he was the one who had hands made of sand, but later they got replaced with hands made out of silicate powder, and there is a difference. Look it up.
Oh my god. Okay, now I have to actually look this up to see if this is a bit or not.
See? I got the old brains, I got the brains a-turning. That's a phrase people say all the time.
It's just a bunch of images of Spock doing the shocker.
Okay, mission to Horatius. The USS Enterprise is headed to Starbase 12 for shore leave, supplies, and repairs. Food is running low, and the engines need servicing. Wait, don't they have replicators? Anyway,
I don't think they had replicators in the original series. They had some sort of like wall slot that they would get food from, but they never called it a replicator. It was like, I think they just had like,
see,
it might have been like the
Jetsons. Tom, it's
Okay.
really disrespectful to call immigrants replicators.
Anyway, a distress signal diverts the ship. A distress signal diverts the ship to a solar system on the outer edge of explored space. Upon hearing of the emergency mission, Dr. McCoy expresses his concern about the mental health of the crew to Kirk. In Dr. McCoy's opinion, the Enterprise has been on patrol for such a long period of time that the crew is in danger of developing a form of space madness known as cafard. Upon reaching the Cafard, C-A-F-A-R-D.
Sounds like the fart.
Cafard.
It does sound like the fart. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's 4 years old on the inside.
Upon reaching the NGC 400 solar system, the Enterprise crew comes across 3 planets populated by different human settlers who had been unhappy with the social or political order of Earth. One planet has reverted to Stone Age state, another has a mid-20th century technology, while the third maintains a level of technology capable of space travel and advanced weaponry. Kirk and crew must determine who sent a distress signal and the nature of the emergency. I'm guessing it's on the third planet. Along the way, they encounter a warrior society.
The Stone Age planet sent a giant smoke signal so large it could reach space.
It's like Morse code. What does it say? Cafard.
It says,
So
who cafarded?
So there's, allow me like a relatively selfish pitch. There is a trilogy of novels out there called the Epic Failure Trilogy by my friend Joe Zija. And in the second one, they have something called Space Semaphore that takes 30 minutes to transmit a single sentence.
Efficiency!
Around like No, they're dancing around like epileptics on a dance floor, and these are geriatric people in space suits.
Okay.
It's great. Check it out. But that's what that reminded me of.
I kind of do want to check it out now.
Please do. The trilogy is great.
So, along the way, they encounter a warrior society, a planet where drugs are used to control the general population, and a culture consisting of an elite class with clones handling the day-to-day chores required by society.
Oh, a planet where drugs are used to control the population. Don't they mean Earth? Whoa, whoa!
Clown horn.
Big Pharma, Infowars.gov.
Tom, please cut that to just have Zero say big fart.
No, I'll just take it again. Big fart. Infowars.fart.
We have literally devolved to fart jokes by episode 5 of Wiki Sift. I don't know how long you plan to do this show.
We've been doing fart jokes since minute 1. Let's not pretend otherwise.
Well, thank you for bringing me back down to earth. I appreciate it.
Okay. So, and the memory beta article on this says that also Sulu's pet rat Mickey escapes and is believed to be a possible
has a pet
carrier.
rat? Hold on a second.
Yeah, he has a pet rat named Mickey, and it escapes and is believed to be a possible carrier of the bubonic plague.
That got serious real fucking fast.
Yeah, we go from, hey, Mickey Mouse here, to fucking, oh, by the way, if he gets off the ship on one of these planets, they'll all fucking die.
Way, you're 2 hours. Oh, by the way, you're 2 hours away from succumbing to your own disease.
I'm gonna wipe out a third of Europe.
And then I'm gonna masturbate with sand hands on your grave.
So,
Gosh, Sulu.
According to Wikipedia, issues with the novel were first raised with the producers of the television show by John Meredith Lucas, who contacted both Desilu Business Affairs and Gene Roddenberry, warning them that the novel was not technically in bad taste, but is extremely dull, and even considering the juvenile market, badly written. He added that it contains several inaccuracies, including describing Vulcans as Vulcanians, and an issue with Spock quoting poetry.
Hi, I'm made of papier-mâché, and if you put a mixture of baking soda and vinegar in me, I explode.
No, the producer didn't say that was in bad taste, but it says there were concerns
at least it's
that
not as
Sulu...
racist as Spock Messiah, where they call Uhura the Black.
Hold that thought. There were concerns that Sulu had been described as a bland-faced small Oriental.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah! Yeah, so what were you saying about the racism?
Yeah, Uhura was called, I don't want to say this word, it's not the word, but you remember that episode of Star Trek
the rat is
Abe
spreading
Lincoln?
bubonic plague and not yellow fever.
And she sings a spiritual.
This is awful. What book is this?
This is Mission to Horatius. This was the first book that was written about Star Trek, and it was a young adult novel.
This is young adult?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, Roddenberry wrote of his concern with the project to Desilu Business Affairs, saying that he agreed with Lucas's comments and that Star Trek is a valuable property worth protecting, and I personally would rather blow a deal like this than see the property harmed. Despite corrections, Roddenberry wrote a 5-page dissection of Mission to Horatius describing what he felt was wrong with the novel.
Everything. Everything is wrong with it.
Yeah, that would have been a one-word dissection.
That's a great sign when you write the first Star Trek novel and it gets released along with a statement by Gene Roddenberry about why it's bad. In 1999, Pocket Books published a facsimile edition of the book. Pocket Books editor John Ordover commented that they did the reprint for fun, and had also noted that copies of the original were selling for high prices on the second-hand market.
I'm sorry, for fun.
For fun.
For fun.
Is what he said.
Just for kicks.
It's fun reprinting the story that is racist against Asian and Pacific Islanders for fun.
Yeah, and also that Gene Roddenberry wrote a 5-page dissertation on how bad it was.
Well, was Gene Roddenberry still in college?
Now, the facsimile is almost identical to the original. The text on the cover, authorized edition, is moved slightly, and the book has a new copyright page, plus a 1-page introduction by John Ordover on what was originally a blank page. Those are the only changes.
The page that was added just says, "I'm sorry" for 50 sentences.
Like, you know that those are the only changes because they actually went to the bother of explaining that the text on the cover that says authorized edition was just moved slightly. So I tried to look up what Gene Roddenberry said about this book because I wanted to read those 5 pages. I could not find them.
Again, it's just 50 sentences of, it's shit.
Alright, so now that that's out of the way, Zero, you want to continue? I believe the last one we did was The Abode of Life. I think the next one on the list is Blackfire.
Yes, Blackfire. That one is a treat. Allow me to look up the cover art because I made a note here. The cover art, which is apparently by none other than Big Titty Babe and Nearly Naked Barbarian artist Boris Vallejo, features a pretty spot-on Kirk and a relatively foldy Spock in front of a greenish space scene with the Enterprise fighting the same kind of goofy-looking ship that was on the cover of the Klingon Gambit. And this one is a fun one. It's not...
Not the song by Dragon Force.
No, not the song by Dragon Force. That I don't believe is about... I don't believe that is about Star Trek. I could be wrong.
It looks like the Enterprise is fighting a ship from the kitchen of the world of tomorrow.
It really does. It's not the best design for a ship.
No, it is not. All right, hazard a guess. How much is it going to cost me to buy a copy of this from eBay?
I'm guessing, for some reason, it's going to be like $200.
Tom?
I could see
I'm going high.
I couldn't possibly guess. I could see it easily being on a range from 70 cents to hundreds of dollars.
Well, okay, you have to solidify a single number. I can't take a range.
Okay. $70.
$3.99.
Damn it!
See, it could be
By
any
Price is Right rules, we both lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, not a bad cover, although I I am kind of concerned about, why is it that every artist, like, without fail, makes Spock look like wrinklier than a bloodhound scrotum? I don't get it. He wasn't that wrinkly in the show.
What I'm more concerned about is Spock's apparent malignant constipation, because it looks like he's infected Kirk.
Kirk's actually just having a flashback to Vietnam, and it's solidifying above him.
Oh, God.
Right there.
Oh, no.
That's it. The ship's fighting.
So what we're looking at here is the Enterprise and a Klingon battlecruiser shooting white lights at each other that turn into lens flares, which seems to have been all the rage back in the 60s to 80s.
And then brought back again with J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
And in a green backdrop of space, well, Kirk and Spock look on with...
Malaise?
Malaise, yes!
Yeah. Although... also, thank you very much, Tom, for describing on our audio-only podcast the visual description of this image of the book cover so that people who are driving while listening do not crash and die.
That was what I was going for, yes.
Yes, don't go looking this up while you're on your commute.
Yeah, don't crash and die. We need you for our metrics.
So anyhow, a sabotage. So that the cover synopsis tells us that it's about a sabotage attempt on the Enterprise itself, and Spock ends up defying the Federation and forming a strange alliance, and he's condemned as a traitor.
Why does this always happen?
Yeah, it's always something big like this. Like, why can't they ever have like an adventure where like Spock doesn't become a traitor, or like, you know, we have to kill somebody on the bridge of the ship, or
someone dies.
Well, I mean, would you really want to read a book about when Spock lost his car keys?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much. It would be a refreshing change of pace.
Spock leaves the restaurant and remembers he forgot to tip.
and
we doing Wong Hei fun again.
We have pages of Spock's internal conflict as he stands there in the parking lot looking back at the door thinking, now, would it be in poor taste for... Yeah, do I go back? Or should I simply leave? Now, the moral ramifications of not going back knowing that I didn't leave a tip must be considered. For remember, the good of the many... comes before the good of the one.
700 pages later, I am the Messiah and I have a harem.
And also, my hands are now made of sand.
But...
Sand!
I think Ian raises a funny point, though, because, like, every episode something giant is happening, where, like, Spock betrays the Federation, or the Kirk dies and comes back to life, or Kirk clones himself, and they both, you know...
It always ends up being something massive. It's never something just big. It's always something with, like, huge sounding repercussions. Like, Spock has been labeled a traitor and gone against the Federation, and the whole crew of the Enterprise are in a riot, and there's an entire planet that's about to get exploded, and the Enterprise can't escape from it. And now they have to blow up the fucking sun, and Spock's down on the planet having sex because he thinks he's Jesus, and it's like, what the fuck? Can we not just have a thing like...
You are right. There are not enough stories about how Spock cut in line at the DMV.
But after all that, don't forget there was one Star Trek novel about Kirk going to a magic show, and the idea of a woman being cut in half terrifies him to the point of disgust.
I forgot about that. He gets back to the ship and he's just like, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget the sight of that woman being sawed in half. My God, the savagery. It was like watching the 80 days of Sodom.
Next day, I wonder who's gonna wrestle on AEW tonight.
All right. So let's get back to this. Let's get back to this summary here.
Yes.
So, the thing to keep in mind here is that this story is another one where the writer has come up with their own fictional, made-up race. Because so many of the writers of these Star Trek novels were like, we don't need to bother going with anything that's been already established. Let's just make up an entire race and culture and whatnot and just shove it the fuck in the middle of our story. And I mean, look, I know that they did it all the time on the show, but it just feels so weird and out of place to be doing this in, like, novels and just be, it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. I know that it does need to be done time to time, but, like, every single one is like, by the way, here's this race that you never heard of before. Here's this race you never heard of before. And it's like, wouldn't you think that, like, after a while of exploring just, like, one region of the galaxy, like, you'd find all of them, you'd be aware of all of them? I mean, the galaxy's a big place, but if you're only searching, like, a certain radius into which, you're able to get, fuel and service for your ship and whatnot, you'd think eventually...
Look over there, those ravenous creatures, they must be Romulans.
Fuck off! Nomulans. I get it. I don't have to like it, but I get it.
No, you do not have to like it. I didn't like making the joke, but it came to me and it had to be done.
Let us proceed with caution, Captain. These Nomulans are clearly awesomer than Romulans.
And also, for some reason, let me make historical record of a novelist named Johnson Halberto, who definitely wrote some very cool science fiction novels. It is written here that he had 14 wives all at once, and they were all total babes, and also he had $1 trillion zillion, and everybody loved him.
Oh, look, it's the leader of the Nomulans.
You don't know any of these wives. They're all from Canada.
The president of the Nomulans, President Plixton. Because that's not an obvious reference.
So this time
don't make the rules!
This time the flavor of the week isn't even, like, a new concept, is the thing. They're the Tomari, for whom war and killing is life itself. Which kind of sounds like exactly what they were setting the Klingons up as back in that period of the franchise, but yeah, whatever.
What year did this novel come out?
83. Very beginning of 1983, back in January. So the story begins with a sabotage attempt on the Enterprise, which ends up succeeding, and the resulting damage ends up seriously injuring Captain Kirk. While Spock and Scotty are investigating this, they somehow run afoul of the Federation and end up teaming up with the Romulans and the Klingons to face the Tomari. Again, this is one of those things where there's not a ton of information on exactly what's happening, so, I mean, I don't know if Spock, like, found out that, there was a Federation admiral who, like, was secretly having an affair with a goat or something. I don't know, but...
No. He's still looking for his car keys.
Oh, right. And he found them inside the goat. So the Tomari, they capture a team consisting of Spock and Scotty, 2 Klingons, and 2 Romulans. During the ordeal, a sliver of metal somehow gets stuck in Spock's spine and paralyzes him. The Klingons and Romulans do not survive the Tomari, but Spock and Scotty are able to escape and be beamed back to the Enterprise.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Was Spock doing the bare necessities tree grind against the engine? Is that how the fucking metal got in his spine? I really want to know.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
I've had metal shards in my hands before. I worked with the buzzing of the bees and
the flowers and the trees. If you just don't go thinking about it, then you'll go on living without it. Because the bare necessities of life are all we need, Captain.
At least we know that Spock, if he was a furry, would be a bear.
Yeah. Well, we all know that because of, just he's got those big, warm, embracing arms.
And also the ridiculous chest hair.
Yeah, yes. It's like
Please continue. I don't want to spend any more time thinking about Spock's chest
Me
hair.
neither. Let's continue. So back aboard the Enterprise. Spock is put on trial for treason and is then convicted on a technicality. So, I guess it's a thing with Al Capone. God, we can't get him because we can't prove that he's in charge of the mob, but he didn't do his taxes. So, ha-ha!
It's the fucking trial from Chrono Trigger.
I was gonna say, usually people get off on a technicality. I've never heard of someone being convicted of a technicality. I guess,
Oh, Tom, I know I get off on courtroom video all the time.
Okay, so he's officially labeled a traitor and is given the Federation's greatest dishonor to be sent to their highest security prison on Minos. However, he is able to escape the prison with the help of a Romulan named... I don't know if this is Desus or Dezus or... Let's just say Deus Ex.
Just say Desus.
Yeah.
And the two join in a group of pirates on Seta 5. Desus hatches a scheme for the two of them to collectively pretend to be a pirate known as Black Fire somehow. The article gives literally...
You are so close. You are so close to making a D's nuts joke. So close.
You there, pirate ship! Identify yourself! Desus. What's that mean? Desus fucking nuts.
It only took 5 episodes to get your show down to the lowest common denominator, Tom.
I couldn't be more proud.
I hope you're excited. So anyhow, the two of them agree to collectively pretend to be one guy, and the article gives literally 0 details as to what exploits the two pull under this joint guise. But after this, Spock joins the Romulan Empire in an attack on the Tomari. So Blackfire, the character, has its own article shedding a tiny bit more light on things. Apparently the alias originated on Corsair in 22.7 as the name of a legendary pirate force. Spock primarily used the name, with Desus also using it as a misdirection. Further confusing things, the two somehow gained control of 2 identical Federation cruisers.
They're the two of them are the Dread Pirate Roberts?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But in space.
Okay.
But it gets better. It gets better. Further confusing things, the two somehow gained control of 2 identical Federation cruisers and had black fire painted on the side of both of them, though they actually called their ships the Talon and the Equus. So you have Blackfire and you have Blackfire piloting the Blackfire and the Blackfire. I can see how that would maybe get confusing for people, sure. The entire charade was apparently part of a sting operation, the details of which are still unclear to me.
I'm sorry. Okay, hold on.
No, please, take your time.
Okay, yeah, there is a lot going on here, but I also just kind of love the idea of them just being like teenagers who formed a band called Blackfire and they just write on everything.
That is actually also the name of their band, yes. And also, anytime that they capture somebody as pirates, they hang them over a pit and they're like, yes, well, now it's time to die. And they throw a bunch of copper tubing and shit into the fire to make it black so that there's also a black fire.
I can't tell if that's a joke or if that's what
that
actually
is a
happens.
joke. Yes, that's a joke. Don't worry. It's not that stupid.
Okay. Because I could see that being a thing in one of these.
It really easily could be, yes. So, when he returns to the Enterprise, Kirk feels like there's something wrong with all of this, and he decides that, quote, "You are a plant! By guts, Spock, you aren't a traitor at all!" As if on cue, Uhura coincidentally receives word that all charges against Spock have been dropped. The book ends with a traditional TOS comedy ending with McCoy asking Black Fire for his autograph, but Spock instead hands him the Black Jewel earring that he wore as part of his disguise instead, which I'm assuming the Black Jewel earring was also known as the Black Fire earring.
Wow.
The black jewel gleamed with a strange luminescence on McCoy's palm, but it was nothing compared to the gleam in Spock's dark eyes.
So what was the name of the novel again? Because I'm not sure I remember.
I think it was called,
Black Fire.
Melman's Maneuver? Or maybe it was,
It was called Welcome to Sandhands.
No, you're thinking of the magnificent...
That's Blackfire's hit song.
Yeah. The novel you're thinking of was The Magnificent Mr. Sandhands.
No.
And that was the one where Spock has to stop the Romulan invasion with a magnificent song and dance number.
That's awesome. I want to see this now.
So of note, there are apparently some odd continuity problems with the book. For one, they discuss the command module having to be replaced following a catastrophic explosion, but a number of other sources explicitly state that the Enterprise finished its original 5-year mission with the original command module intact. Further complicating things is that the story supposedly takes place well before the events of the motion picture, yet the cover shows the overhauled Enterprise from said film. Moreover, the cover shows the Enterprise firing on a Klingon ship, which is a scene that is not depicted anywhere in the book.
Oh, I love those.
So they just said, like, hey, Boris Vallejo, could you just draw us, like, a Kirk and a Spock and just do whatever? All right, here you go. Yeah, that's
also,
fine.
make sure Spock has 9 million wrinkles.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure that Spock looks like a bloodhound scrotum.
Make sure Spock looks like a dehydrated piece of skin.
A raisin in the sun, if you will.
Oh, yeah, this is right before he joined the California Raisins. Yeah, I remember briefly they were a quintet. Tom, I think I broke your guess.
This is the crossover I didn't realize I needed.
I heard it through the grapevine, and I thought that I would lose my mind. Honey, honey, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Indeed.
All right.
Dear Star Trek, please resurrect Leonard Nimoy and make him a raisin. Thank you, Stevo.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, God. So the next one in the list is Triangle. And,
it's just called Triangle.
It's just called Triangle, yes. It's the sequel to Square, but it came before Circle.
And it's at least 3 years before Rhombus.
Oh,
So it's
Rhombus,
part of the Triangle trilogy.
listen. Rhombus isn't even canon. I know a lot of people will debate me on this, but Rhombus, listen, it was so outside of the geometric wheelhouse that even Gene Roddenberry himself said on his deathbed, as he was dying, he said, "Never ever let anybody say that Rhombus was canon." And then apparently he turned into an elderly wizard and then died.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he turned into a rhombus.
And then he turned into a rhombus. Yes.
That does sound very Peter Chimera.
That was the poetic justice that awaited him in his next
So
No!
I'm sharing the cover.
All right, triangle.
Triangle. So, as I've noted here again, why is it that so many artists depict Kirk just as he looked in the original series, yet make Spock look wrinklier than a bloodhound scrotum? That's where I got that from. That's from the next one I wrote here. I'm also noticing a trend of these book covers almost universally featuring close-ups of 2 or 3 members of the bridge crew, the Enterprise, and some space. Can we please try for some originality?
Yeah, this is exactly the same as the other one, except there's no Klingon ship. It's just the Enterprise, and instead of green, it's red.
Yeah, and they flipped positions.
They've got the same facial expressions.
They always just look like bored or constipated, and again, Kirk always looks exactly like he did in the 60s, but Spock is like the portrait of Dorian Gray. He gets, like, wrinklier and wrinklier. Like, I'm assuming by book 850, he's gonna look like fucking Emperor Palpatine. Spock will just be like,
Execute Order 66.
I wonder if William Shatner demanded that he look
you know
really
what?
young in all of this.
I wouldn't put it past him. I would not put it past him. So, the book's own synopsis warns of a sinister plan being hatched in the galaxy, one so grand in scale as to be only conceivable by a collective, ruthless mind such as that of the Totality. Captain Kirk must not only fight the seductive power of the Totality, but also he's in love with a Federation free agent named Sola Thane, whom Spock is also totes fallen for, bro. Their unimaginable passions lead to an unforeseen tragedy, and the outcome could potentially cost Kirk his soul and Spock his life. Apparently everything depends on the outcome of the Triangle.
It's called Triangle because it's a love triangle. Oh.
Yep. As my next note here says, may I already posit that this sounds like it's going to be, dare I guess it, a cringy love triangle story? I swear to God, if this is some shit where they beat the big bad with the power of true wub or whatever, I'm walking out of the theater, or, well, my bedroom, you get it.
I mean, that sounds like a thing that people would protest, a love triangle between two humans and a California raisin.
So, listen, the California raisins were the 80s.
You can send
Those
me a
were a
message
different
afterwards
time.
saying how much you hate me. It's fine.
Listen, it was the 80s.
So,
it was a different time. Love was more free between man and raisin. It's fine.
If you would like to let us know how much you hate Stevo, please leave a review.
God damn it, is this the episode where you do put me in the dungeon and never bring me back?
No, we'll bring it back.
Maybe. We'll see. You sound so confident about that. Yeah, we'll bring it back.
He does.
Sure.
Yeah, he does.
He's really thinking about it now. I'm letting you know that right now.
He's just like, is it worth it? Anyways, please continue.
So the Enterprise is tasked with bringing Ambassador Galbraith, no relation to John Kenneth, I assume, to the planet Zayran, where the population have been subjugated by a collective mind called the Totality, composed of humans who escaped the Earth during the atomic wars of the mid-late 20th century. Galbraith is a part of a different collective consciousness called the Oneness, which he views as the future of humanity. There is no explanation given for how either of these collectives were formed in my sources.
Okay, the nuclear wars of the late 20th century. That's out. This book was written in the late 20th century.
It was already established as canon. This I actually do know.
Okay.
The original series actually established in the 60s that in the late 20th century that yes, there were a series of nuclear wars. That was, I think Khan was one of the genetic supermen created during that time period. And they actually, in the pilot for Next Generation, the first episode, Mission to Farpoint, Q, when he puts them on trial, he puts them on trial in a post-apocalyptic Earth court of, like, the year 1999 or whatever, so it's basically they consider it a separate reality to our own where there wasn't nuclear war.
Post-apocalyptic,
Okay.
I can only assume that the entire judge, jury, and audience are made up of mutated raisins.
Yeah. All the descendants of Spock.
It's always just funny to me when science fiction authors create a universe like in the future that could be our own, but then they reference stuff that's gonna happen like the next 10 years, and it's like,
Yeah.
like if people read this 11 years from now, they're gonna be like, yeah, that didn't happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. They,
to me, it feels like whenever authors do that, it's like they have inclinations to become cult leaders. It's like, oh, look, this happened. I predicted it. Worship me.
Oh, man. So that's what happened with Scientology.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Finally, somebody who gets it. I appreciate it.
By the way, have you had your thetans checked lately? Because I'm just saying, you may have more thetans in your body than you're aware of, and I'm just saying you should have them checked.
I did, but I'm more concerned about the fact that I have to get a cystoscopy next month than I am about my thetan count. Thank you.
Oh, to have that
So
California
do you do that
raisin removed
before or
from your
after
back?
Clearing.
A cystoscopy is when they shove a camera in your pee hole, my friend.
Oh, I thought that was when they removed a cyst from you. Like how a colonoscopy is when they remove your colon, right?
But do you have to do the clearing before or after? Like, is it going to interfere with the readings?
Yeah, I have to show up to get my pee hole checked with the clear thetan count, Tom. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
The only way to make sure I don't have bladder cancer is to make sure my thetans are low. God
Look,
damn
if
it.
there's alien ghosts in your dick, you have a problem, okay?
The doctor's
this-
going to see the
if
thetans, and it's going to mess everything up.
If Wiki Sift went off the stuff that we said as opposed to the actual subject matter, alien ghosts in my dick would be the episode title.
I thought you were going to say if Wiki Sift goes off and disappears off the internet, it's because Scientology got
Our
us.
thetan count was too high. And as for the episode title, excuse me, but I would say my sandy-handed California raisin's dick is haunted by thetans.
You can take the host out of Friday Night Fanfiction, but you can't take the Friday Night Fanfiction out of the host.
So, anyways, they are directed. They're redirected to go pick up a half-Zaren free agent of the Federation, Sola Thane, who left her regular Federation position in order to work to free her people. Of course, she and Kirk immediately have sexual tension, but surprisingly, she also awakens the funkadelic sex magic deep within Spock and triggers his Ponfar, which she has sex with him to cure. All of this turns out to have been orchestrated by Galbraith, and somehow, also the totalitarian, totality's leader, Solyanov. The latter hopes that Thane will form a bond with one of them so the totality can use her advanced psionic powers.
Which are?
They don't say. I'm assuming,
Damn it.
I'm assuming that her powers involve, the ability to, read your thetan count with her mind. So Kirk and Spock are somehow kidnapped and taken to the surface of a nearby planet, where Thane is tasked with tracking them down in what the novel calls, I shit you not, a mate hunt.
Ew. I feel really dirty after hearing you say that phrase. Ugh.
I'm sorry, but that's the novel's term, not mine.
No, I'm aware. I don't blame you. It's still just.
It's as the kids would say these days, cringe.
Yeah.
She eventually finds them, and together the trio penetrate the totality's citadel. Oop, what just happened?
Uh-oh. Tom disconnected. You must have had an internet outage. Intermission. There he is. See,
There
Tom,
he
I thought you
is.
just rage quit and were like,
It's
this
the
episode
boy.
is completely scrubbed.
So I have no idea where I left for you guys. It was weird because I made a joke and you guys did not respond to it at all for like 20 seconds. I'm like, what?
I did hear it. I just did not think it was funny. I was sitting there giving you the silent treatment.
I thought your joke was so bad, I connected to your modem and killed it.
So yeah, I don't know where I cut out for you guys, but
I didn't hear this joke realistically.
Okay, so like you said you were struggling to say the word totality. And
that was when
oh
you
my
lost.
God,
Okay,
that was like 4 months ago.
I've grown a beard since then. I've taken a wife.
You were struggling with the word totality, and I said, would it be easier for you if instead of totality you just called it the triangle? And there was just dead silence.
Oh, that must have really hurt for that to guys,
No,
the triangle.
like I can tell.
Please.
I can tell something was wrong. I mean,
Please say something so I know I still have friends.
at the very least, after 20 seconds, you would have said so anyway.
Yeah, I would. No, I definitely. I run a show that goes off on tangents every 3 seconds. I know how to bring things back. And I would have had I not jizzed all over your modem, thereby ruining it. Sorry.
Stevo, for the last time.
What? For the last time? Oh, come on. The first 7 times did not count. That was circumstantial.
Yeah, that was circumcision.
How did you know I was Jewish?
Because you bring it up every episode.
One day I'll find the rabbi who stole my foreskin and take it back.
Oh my God.
This isn't even your first circumcision joke. Like
This ain't your first rodeo,
you
boy.
said that Thor circumcised you with a hammer.
So I guess to catch
Getting back to it.
Yeah, to catch Tom up, let me return from where I was having trouble there. So, of course, she and Kirk immediately have sexual tension, but she also awakens the Funkadelic sex magic deep within Spock and triggers his Pon farr, which she has sex with him to cure. All of this turns out to have been orchestrated by Galbraith and, somehow, also the Totality's leader!
Why are you so mad at us? It's you making the mistake.
I'm mad at my tongue!
If you're having trouble saying totality, why don't you call them the triangle?
What? All of this.
I was gonna just let things be quiet for 20 seconds and make him think the stream died again.
All of
That
this
would have been really good.
turns out to have been orchestrated by Galbraith and somehow also the Totality's leader, Solyanov. There we go. The latter hopes Thane will form a bond with one of them so the Totality can use her advanced psionic powers.
Okay.
I was asked by Stevo what those powers were, and I said that the thing did not say, but were I to guess, they included the ability to read someone's fate and count with only the mind.
Oh, so that entire bit was oh my God, no!
Yeah, which means I have to read the cringe
right.
part again. I have to read the horrifically cringe part again.
You know, that's fine. If you suffer, I'm not upset.
Yeah, well, don't worry, I'm suffering. Kirk and Spock are somehow kidnapped and taken to the surface of a nearby planet where Thane is tasked with tracking them down in what the novel calls, I shit you not, a mate hunt.
Yeah, they're just searching for coffee mate.
I'm just thinking of... That's just what they call the deadliest game in Australia.
Oh, fuck off!
You call it mate hunt, I call it Tinder.
She eventually finds them, and together the trio penetrate the Totality's citadel. During their
Did you really need to say penetrate?
Yes!
God damn it!
Yes, I did! They had sex, okay?
It's a love triangle.
During their no doubt action-packed expedition within, Thane convinces a Zarin to activate the self-destruct. With everything about to go up in smoke, Galbraith and Solyanov both vie for the trio to join them, and beg Thane to form a bond with one of them and to help them escape. In the end, their love triangle proves to be a bond in and of itself, and this allows them to survive. Then I guess Thane just kind of goes off with Solyanov to, quote, redirect the totality, end quote, implying that something was causing him to be a bad guy rather than him just being a bad guy or something. I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second, because the next time I have to go take a dump on company time, I'm going to tell my boss I have to go redirect the...
Totality?
Yes!
I do want to point out here that I said that I swear to God, if this ends up being the power of true wub defeats the bad guys, well, it did in a way, didn't it?
Yes.
Oh, they need to form a bond, but it turns out that their love triangle was a bond in and of itself. Oh, how sweet. I wish I were dead. So there's still more though. Because I say, the very concept of this story is painful to read, and it does, in fact, seem to end with true wub conquers all heart, which makes me want to heave. I don't like thinking about Kirk fucking, let alone Spock, yet this novel wants you to think about that a lot, apparently. There's also no explanation given in the summary as to why Galbraith teamed up with Solyanov, nor why either felt they needed Thane's powers in particular. There may be one in the book's text itself, but I digress. I don't like the very idea. Okay, in fairness, there is an explanation for a bunch of things on Sola Thane's page. The mate hunt is a specific ritual in Zarin culture where a female must hunt down her mate within the jungle, and this act forms their bond. The reason this is important to the villains is because she has latent bonding powers, and the reason they want her in particular is because her half-human blood means a great deal to spreading their collective consciousness across humanity. Also, at the end, she apparently makes a deal with Solyanov to go with him in exchange for Kirk and Spock's freedom and the Enterprises, and that any members of the Zarin Rebellion who wish to leave the totality be allowed to, so it's not just as though she said, okay, bye, and dipped.
It's close, but it's
close,
not
but not, it reads less as somebody forgetting that the story needed to be wrapped up, and more like somebody looked at their watch and said, oh crap, I have to wrap this up in 5 minutes, okay, this is how it ends.
Oh, so this is the, I have to go, my planet needs me, Poochie died on the way back to his home planet thing.
Yes, it's better than if, say, they had just gone, you look like you have something to say, do you? Yes, I most certainly do. And then it just said, the end!
Yep, absolutely. Though I will say the missed opportunity of making, like, a poly relationship acceptable in this book's context is kind of sort of disappointing, but at the same time, the rest of the story is so bad that I wouldn't want Polly to be associated with it.
Yeah, which is really funny because, as you may recall, one of the very first ones I covered had a captain in it who was like, oh, hey, by the way, Captain Kirk, you want to join my harem? Because I'm in a polycule with, 11 people. Right. And they just, treat this as just, totally normal. Nobody says anything about it.
Yeah, it gets so close. But, you know what? In the end, I'm okay with it. I am okay with not having it be sullied by this ridiculousness.
Indeed. So...
Alright, so I think we have time for one more so we don't spend the entire episode on 3 books and end up at 800 after 17 years.
Are we doing all... Oh, no. We're not doing all 800, are we?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not
tonight. Not tonight.
Well, obviously not tonight. I mean, come on.
No.
So...
We'll just have to do Wiki Sift every night until we do it.
Yeah. So...
Clear out your schedule for the next 472 days.
This one I think is going to be pretty good. We've got Web of the Romulans. And this one already promises to be ludicrous with the blurb. A Romulan ship ravaged by a killer virus arrives at Kanara, the only place where a cure can be found.
Is the Romulan ship called the Blurb?
Yes, the ship is called the Blurb.
Also,
yes,
is the
absolutely.
ship made out of a bunch of Romulans holding themselves against each other? As the web of Romulans?
You guys...
Yes, absolutely.
The silence after that joke scared me. I thought I lost internet again.
So they arrive at Kanara, the only place where a cure can be found, and as part of their desperate gambit, they incite an attack from the Enterprise, which Kirk somehow sees through. Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the part where it all fucking goes off the rails, over the cliff, and straight down into the damn ocean. Into the mouth of the Kraken. The central computer has fallen in love with Kirk. No, I'm not kidding.
It's just another
That's
love
what
triangle.
it says. Yeah, yes.
How
The love triangle between Kirk, the computer, and the food dispenser in the mess hall.
It's sad how this is both cliche and the dumbest thing I've ever heard at the same time.
It
Can't
is,
wait for
isn't
the
it?
sex scene where Kirk just smacks his dick against the keyboard.
Foley artist, we're gonna need the sound effect. Grab an uncooked Italian, grab an uncooked Italian sausage, and I need you to smack it against this keyboard.
The Foley artist just responded with a middle finger and its resignation.
So, this severely cripples the Enterprise's functionality at the worst time, of course, and Kirk's gotta get the Romulans their cure, or else the whole galaxy might become a bloody war zone. So the actual story here apparently
so he
goes...
has to flirt with the computer to get it to work?
Apparently that's what I'm getting from this, yes.
Excuse me, Dell tech support? My computer says it's in love with me.
Have you tried talking to it?
Try turning it off and back on again. No, I already turned it on! That's the problem! Now it wants to fuck!
Thank you! Thank you! That was my joke!
We all had the same joke. It's the obvious joke.
It keeps asking me to give it a hard drive! It keeps asking me to make my floppy hard and give it a hard drive! But I keep telling it...
It tells me to flash its memory afterwards.
I keep telling it that if I give it a hard drive, it's gonna be over in a zip!
Oh, good job.
It
Good
keeps
job.
telling me to insert some kind of dongle.
Why don't we write Star Trek novels? We could.
We could! At this point.
At this point, we could, and they'd be just as good, if not better than these. So, alright, so the summary begins as thus. The Enterprise is sent to the neutral zone to investigate strange rumors about the Romulans. There, the crew witness a Romulan bird of prey, the Raptor, cross the border and cloak. At the same time, the Enterprise's computer is showing effects of a recent reprogramming, which has caused it to fall in love with Kirk until it eventually refuses to obey or even acknowledge any other crew member, effectively leaving the ship crippled. The lack of communication from Enterprise causes the paranoid Starfleet Intelligence Admiral Iota to become convinced the ship has been destroyed and a Romulan invasion is in progress. Because that's what you jump to. The Enterprise isn't answering. It must be destroyed, and the Romulans are coming, and they're going to make us all get gay married. Thanks, Joe Biden.
Admiral Iota has been ghosted one too many times. Nah, fuck that. You gonna ignore me? I'm gonna blow your shit up. Let's do it. Load the photon.
This is the opposite of that famous story of that Soviet admiral in the nuclear sub who refused to launch the nukes after.
Oh, this is the one where he saw a
their
piece of
instrument
plankton
searching
and
this-
immediately launched his arsenal.
Oh, that plankton! It's an American spy! Get him!
Thank you.
Launching Sidewinder missile.
Launching second Sidewinder missile.
He insists on accompanying a fleet commanded by Captain Garson to the neutral zone. And by the way, Garson is a really good name. It's like Carson, but with a G.
But you gotta
feel like
say
Garson.
It like you're snooty, Captain Garçon.
Oh, that would be
that's just French for boy.
But that would be with a C, thank you. This is with an S. This guy's name is actually Captain Carson, but he scribbled his name a little bit on the sign-up form, so they've always thought it was Garson.
Oh.
So as the Raptor makes an attack run on the Enterprise, Kirk convinces the computer to give them access to auxiliary control, and they successfully manage to cripple the ship. How the computer... I'm assuming it means that they got access to the Romulan ship? But I don't know how that would be the case. Whatever. The Romulan commander...
Kirk flirted with the computer and convinced it to seduce the Romulan computer.
That's so stupid. I feel like that has to be what it is.
Hey there, big boy. Do you like what you see? Look at my big,
I would like to
sexy...
ram your motherboard slots.
I want to...
Are you doing the robot from Red Letter Media? Do you like sports? I like racquetball.
I'm just doing a robot. If it happens to sound like that, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Dalek.
No, that would be...
In 7-8.
The doctor is coming. We'd better get tea and crumpets ready.
Well, in the video I'm referencing, the robot's having sex with a gorilla as he's saying this.
Hold on. What porn are you watching?
Wait a minute, which Star Trek novel had the robot fucking a gorilla?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
No, it's a short movie made by guys doing like a jam, and they made it silly on purpose. It's Red Letter Media.
Okay, so it's not pornography.
No.
Okay, I've lost interest.
So, the Romulan commander, Talon, it's S' Talon. Stallone? I'm gonna call him Stallone.
Frank Stallone is in this?
Yes.
Look, so my birth name is Steven with a PH, and I'm just getting flashbacks to all the times the teachers got my name wrong. Stalin, Stallone.
What?
No, it's Steven, thank you very much.
They had never heard of Steven with a PH?
No, they had not, apparently.
That is so weird.
I know.
Anyway.
So the Romulan commander Stallone agrees to surrender and beams himself and his crew over to the Enterprise after setting the Raptor to self-destruct. It is quickly revealed that the Raptor was a decoy. The Romulan Empire is afflicted by an outbreak of mutated Murathesia, and the only treatment is quinial. Since the drug can only be manufactured from Gran, the Praetor has led a Romulan fleet to attack Kanara, a Federation planet which is the nearest major source of the plant. So, this is the made-up words paragraph.
Okay, no. These are all experimental prog rock bands. They're not, like...
Murathesia, quinial, Gran, Praetor, Kanara.
At the Wrecker Theater, December 17th.
Ladies and gentlemen, the frontman for Gran, give it up for Murathesia Quinial!
I'm so proud to be on tour with Tool.
Okay, so Kirk persuades Stallone
Which one of them plays the triangle?
That's the California Raisin.
Oh my god.
That's where they went after
now we have to do this. Now
after they broke up.
I didn't want to do this, but now we have to start a band and call it Gran, and we have to have a California Raisin who plays a triangle. It's just what has to happen.
He can't play the triangle because he has sand hands.
Okay, so Kirk persuades Stallone to trust him, And the Enterprise heads for Kanara, where they find the Romulans and the Kanarans engaged in a standoff which could destroy the planet and the Gran. Kirk and Stallone act as emissaries and persuade the Kanarans to trade with the Romulans for the Gran. I don't know if this is a typo of gram. They might be trying to, like, score drugs. The only thing that can save us is the gram, you know? A little bit of the good stuff.
I mean, it makes sense. Legalize Gran, sign the petition.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Iota, convinced they are at war, has taken control of the USS Potemkin and opened fire on a Romulan rear guard. Garson instructs the rest of the fleet to protect the Romulans and threatens to self-destruct the Potemkin. Iota is finally persuaded to surrender when Kirk allows him to overhear Stallone convincing the Praetor of the Federation's good faith. The Enterprise escorts the Romulans out of Federation space with the knowledge that the new Gran processing plants and the vaccine refined by McCoy will soon end the epidemic. The end.
I have no optimism for this. We're still living in COVID.
That was a lot of words, and my brain has not processed them properly.
All you can think about is just, you know, Mirathesia Quiniel. And that's okay by me.
This book synopsis has thrown so many words at us.
Yeah.
I don't remember what any of them mean.
I also am still, like, looking back over it. So, okay, here we go. Mutated Mirathesia is a disease.
Okay.
The Quiniel is a drug.
Yes.
And Quiniel...
Mirathesia sounds like a fucking shampoo.
Quiniel sounds like the new hip health grain that, like, all the white hipsters are going to want it.
Yeah.
The white hipsters are going to want it, and then they're going to starve the people who actually have eaten it for thousands of years to death as it becomes too expensive for them to eat.
And Gran just sounds like a nickname for heroin.
Yeah, I
and the
could totally
people of
see
the Peruvian natives starved.
Like, if science fiction has taught me anything, a fictional space drug could very easily have a name that is just a unit of measurement for that item. It's like I'm hooked on gram.
I'm hooked on millimeter.
Yo, can you hit me up with some ounce?
Hey, you got any stone?
I gotta, dude, I'm jonesing. I've gotta get myself a bottle's worth.
Is this where we reference the Grandpa Simpson rods to the hogshead thing?
Yes.
Oh, I am so jonesing for hogshead right now.
Man, come on, you gotta give me some
really
more.
go
You gotta
for
give me
some
some more.
lard
I'm in withdrawals, man. I gotta have a hectare. This acre shit just ain't doing it for me, man. I gotta have a hectare.
Oh man, guys, I just had the sweetest trip off a gigaflop.
Oh boy, there's a Wikipedia page for list of unusual units of measurement.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that could be a drug. That could
Yes,
be a drug. List of
Wait a minute,
unusual
there's a unit of measurement called a horse?
Yeah, you know.
Well,
But not like horsepower, just horse.
Well,
As in
yeah.
length.
oh man,
This thing is 3
I've been
horses
carrying
long.
This thing all day. It weighs like 3 horse.
Oh my god. A unit of measurement for area. There's one called a barn. Hey, you got any barns, man? I really could go for a barn right now.
Is the next book less confusing?
I'm waving my hand back and like left and right a little bit. It's less confusing as in there's less made up words, but it's still a bizarre story.
Okay, so before you get into the next book, I would like to say that I'm impressed that in nuclear engineering and astrophysics, There's a unit of measurement called a shake. That's awesome.
How many shakes are in a rattle, and how many rattles make up a roll, though?
Well, I know there's 2 shakes in a lamb's tail.
That's true,
Right,
yes.
and there's one shake. One shake is defined as 10 nanoseconds.
Oh, wow.
So that does make sense if you're talking about shakes, rattles, and rolls. Anyways, next book.
Okay, yeah. So this one's called Yesterday's Sun. And, it's another weird one.
That's a very Star Trek title.
Yes. But the concept feels a lot less Star Trek. It's weird.
Oh, dude.
And I don't mean weird in a Star Trek way.
Okay.
I mean weird in just like a... This feels like somebody's fan fiction kind of way. Our book cover synopsis tells us that the planet Gateway, home to the critically acclaimed Guardian of Forever, is under attack by the Romulans, which puts the lives of Federation scientists studying it in jeopardy. The Enterprise must now protect or destroy it, but somehow Spock already used it to go 5,000 years into the past and fuck a cave woman on the planet Sarpedon.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
again?
Yes.
It gets better.
He did.
It gets better. Now he must go back in time and meet his son. That's the whole synopsis.
Who he must also have sex with?
Oh, no! Oh, no! See, this is the difference. This is the difference right here between a licensed book that is published in stores and fan fiction. The published licensed book, no. Fan fiction? Absolutely yes.
Yes.
Hello, son. It's time for you to find out if your species can handle Mpreg.
No, no, not another Omegaverse.
But I love this synopsis. It's like, all right, so we've got this Guardian, the Guardian of Forever, which, if you remember in the series, it was one of the episodes that, like, won a bunch of awards for, excellence in writing, about how, they find this archway that, Bones accidentally stabs himself in the gut with a drug when the ship jerks that makes him hysterical, and he ends up jumping into this thing, and his actions in the past end up making the Enterprise disappear, so they have to pinpoint where he went, go back, and figure out what he changed, and stop it so that they can get time back on the right track, and it's a really, really good story. So there's all sorts of shit you could do with this. And they start you out so strong with the Romulans are attacking it. What's gonna happen? Oh, also Spock used it apparently and fucked a cave woman. And he has to go back in time to meet his son. What about the Romulans? What do they have to do with any of this?
Did the Romulan situation even get resolved? It's like the Romulans are destroying this time gateway, and Spock's like, I'm gonna go bang a caveman.
Yeah, right!
And that's the thing. The story.
I mean, it looks like further down reading this, it does matter, but the book synopsis makes it just sound like, yeah, so there's some Romulans, but also, yeah, Spock did the nasty and the pasty. Eh?
Okay, I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed. I did a Pornhub search for caveman and there's only 27 results.
Oh, shameful.
Really?
Come on, Pornhub. Get back on
And
it.
yet I bet if you search dinosaur, there'll be 300.
Yeah, we could probably thank Chuck Tingle.
Everyone would
Dinosaur has 114.
Yeah, see? People would rather have sex with a dinosaur than a caveman. That's fucked up. Love Fred Flintstone, too.
I just love, though, that Spock not only ignores the Prime Directive, but also the very important lesson they learned about time travel and about how you should go back and mess with
Yeah,
things.
well, exactly!
Decides to just go back and bang a caveman.
But it's okay, because it's on a different planet than Earth, so
on
it
a
won't affect the
planet
Federation. Fuck everyone else's future.
That's the definition of the Prime Directive.
No,
No,
listen.
he literally fucked everyone else's future.
Yeah, as long as it's not our future, though, it's
He
fine.
literally fucked their future.
No, he fucked their past, and then that fucked their future. So the historical records recovered from Sarpedon show evidence of a young man with Vulcan characteristics existing on the planet in the past. Spock quickly understands the implication. He conceived a child with Zarabeth during his time on the planet. Unwilling to let him grow up alone, Spock arranges with T'Pau to receive permission to use the Guardian of Forever. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy travel to Sarpedon's past where they encounter Spock's son, Zar. However, the Guardian transports them to the time when Zar is a young man, with Zarabeth having died in an accident some years previous. He returns with them to the present. Although he joins them on the Enterprise, Spock has difficulty relating to a grown-up son, while Zar begins to rebel against Vulcan customs. Meanwhile, the Romulans launch an attack on the planet containing the Guardian, believing the presence of a permanent Federation guard means it is a military installation. The Enterprise and the Lexington fight off a Romulan patrol, but a shuttle lands with the crew torturing the archaeologists and security detail to death for information on the non-existent installation and surrounding the Guardian with a cloaking field.
Wow.
Since Zar can sense emotions, Kirk sends him and Spock to set up a force field around the Guardian. They fail, and they and Kirk are trapped on the surface when more Romulans arrive. Kirk and Spock try again and succeed, but are captured by the Romulans, who are led by Tal, who I'm assuming I'm supposed to know who that is, but I don't. With Federation reinforcements having defeated the Romulans, McCoy and Uhura join Zar with a security team. Zar is able to destroy the Romulan shuttle and the cloaking device with an overloaded phaser, allowing the security team to overpower the Romulans and rescue Kirk and Spock. Having personally defeated Tal, Zar chooses to return through the Guardian to Sarpedon's past, having realized he was responsible for a cultural awakening in his own time. So I want to point out here...
Those were words.
I want to point out here, it never tells us when, where, or why Spock went 5,000 years into the past to fuck a cave woman.
Yeah, I
This is
noticed
not
that.
covered.
Because he wanted to fuck a cave woman.
Like they
It's
arrive
not
at
covered in this summary.
they arrive at the gateway, like the Guardian of Time or
The Guardian of Forever.
so they arrive there and Spock is like, "Oh yeah, I went through this and had sex with a cave woman 5,000 years ago," and no one questions when or how he did this.
Yeah, that's my
Or
favorite
does he
part.
even remember? Is this like a future version of him?
They find historical records that are just like, oh, hey, look, this guy looks like Spock. Hey, Spock, did you do... Oh, yeah, right. That was when I went back in time and had sex with a caveman.
Just totally slipped his mind.
Yeah,
huh?
I totally went back in time by listening to Chick Corea and Return to Forever.
Wow.
Anyways, I want to point out that there are 2 units of measurement I really like. The Sverdrup, which is 1 million cubic meters per second, and the unit of electromagnetic flux is known as the Jansky.
That just sounds like a viral dance sensation. Yeah.
The Jansky?
Yo, everybody, we're popping and locking it, and we're doing the Jansky.
Oh, yeah. It's the next big thing after the Harlem Shuffle.
Why am I picturing him
Do
doing
the
the
Jansky.
Charleston?
That is what it is. You just do the Charleston, but to, like, breakbeat music. And that's it. That's the only difference.
Alright, that's it for today. Thank you to everyone for listening. Please review us on whatever you're listening to us on. It doesn't have to be a good review. Any review is fine. If you're not sure what to say, just say, these people are a bunch of sad loser nerd monkeys.
It doesn't have to be a good review, and after listening to this episode, we understand if it's not.
Until next time.